You threw a... The plaintiff entered quietly, calmly, in a smart teal blazer that tried very hard to look expensive, but the scuffed heels and overcompensated perfume gave away a story much deeper than she intended. Her name, Diana, early 50s, confident but stiff, a woman who clearly practiced her lines in the mirror before walking into this courtroom. She wasn't here to plead, she was here to collect. Across from her sat the defendant, her ex-husband Michael, buttoned up, slightly smug and clearly amused by the entire ordeal. If Diana's presence screamed preparation, Michael said, "Let's get this over with." The two of them had history, years of it. Marriage, divorce, shared property, and now a $6,000 disagreement hanging in the air like stale courtroom air freshener. Judge Judy, poised at the bench, scanned the paperwork with surgical disinterest. Then she looked up. One look at Diana, then at Michael, then back at the file. "Let me get this straight," she began, already halfway annoyed. "You're suing your ex-husband for $6,000 over a life insurance policy you threw in the trash 10 years ago." You could feel the tension crackle. Diana was quick to interject. "Your Honor, it wasn't just trash." But Judge Judy raised her hand. "Ma'am, trash is trash. You either valued it or you didn't. You threw it away. He picked it up. He paid the premiums. He owned it. And now that he sold it, you want to cut." Cue the audience's collective eyebrow raise. Narrator, if sympathy was the game, Diana just fumbled the opening play. Still, Diana wasn't backing down. She leaned in, speaking with the passion of someone who truly believed her own righteousness. "Your Honor, I only gave up the policy because I was overwhelmed during the divorce. I paid for it for years. Then, when he needed my signature to sell it, I expected him to be fair. We talked about an amount. He promised me more than what he gave." Judge Judy narrowed her eye. "And what exactly did he give you?" Diana hesitated. $12,000. "And what did he promise?" Another pause. 18. That number hung in the air like a lead balloon. Michael snorted quietly, not loud enough for contempt, but just enough to earn a sideways glance from Judy. Now let's pause, dear viewer, and take stock of the battlefield. Narrator, here we have Diana, painting herself as the abandoned ex-wife who kept the lights on during the hard year. And there's Michael, cool as a cucumber, watching this play out like he's seen this rerun before. But here's the twist that really puts the spotlight on Diana's logic. This wasn't some joint account or disputed marital asset. This was a life insurance policy she had no legal claim to. She gave it up, literally threw it in the trash. Michael salvaged it, kept it alive, changed the beneficiary to his 5 kids, and continued paying out of pocket for years. Narrator, deadpan sarcasm. Because nothing says "I deserve that money" like throwing away a legal document and then billing someone for remembering where you left it. Judge Judy leaned forward now, the expression on her face, a cross between fascination and disdain. The crowd in the gallery could sense it. This case had potential, not because it was complicated, but because it was absurd. Then the quirks began to appear. Diana pulled out a crumpled manila envelope from her purse, stuffed to the brim with papers. Not neatly organized documents, mind you. This thing looked like a squirrel had tried to file taxes inside it. She rifled through it awkwardly, papers falling out, some handwritten notes scrawled on sticky pads. One of them had glitter on it. Judge Judy's lips curled. "This is how you're tracking a financial dispute." "I wrote it all down, Your Honor," Diana explained. "These were my notes from the calls." Judge Judy rolled her eyes. "Were you on the phone or doing arts and crafts?" Narrator, we've officially reached the glitter phase of the legal argument. And Michael, he just stood there, arms crossed, nodding slowly like a man who knew this ending before the credits rolled. But let's not dismiss Diana too quickly. There was real emotion beneath the bravado. You could see it in the way her voice quivered when she talked about being the one who paid the premiums for years. The sacrifices, the effort, the years she believed she was building something secure, only for it to be dismissed when the marriage ended. Narrator, softly, maybe it wasn't about the money. Maybe it was about not being forgotten. Unfortunately, in Judge Judy's courtroom, feelings don't pay the bills, and they certainly don't win lawsuits. Judy raised a single hand. Let me save everyone some time. This isn't about fairness. This is about facts. You're suing for a number you can't prove was ever agreed upon, for a policy you voluntarily discarded, and expecting the court to clean up the emotional garbage of your divorce. Narrator. Ladies and gentlemen, the judge has spoken, and the mood is officially set. This case wasn't going to be an easy sympathy win for Diana, but she wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. The real fireworks were still to come. When we dig deeper into the deal, the conversations and the moment Diana tried to outsmart the man she once married, and severely underestimated the judge she stood before. You claimed it was yours after you trashed it, and now you're suing because the payout wasn't big enough. The courtroom settles into a hush, the kind of silence that only precedes a verbal storm, and Judge Judy is already warming up her thunder. Diana stands center stage, her tone growing defensive. Her blazer remains crisp, her voice still rehearsed, but the controlled confidence from Chapter 1, it's starting to crack. I didn't throw it away, Your Honor. I let it go because I thought he wasn't going to keep it. I assumed he'd cancel it. Judge Judy blinks once, slowly, then snaps her eyes up with pinpoint sharpness. Ma'am, you weren't guessing. You relinquished it. He paid the premiums. He changed the beneficiary. You were out of the picture. Until she raises the file. He decided to sell it, and he needed your signature, and you suddenly remembered it had value. Narrator. Mock serious. Somewhere between letting go and payday, Diana remembered how to hold on. The courtroom feels it. This is no longer a debate. This is dissection. Judy's voice slices through the pretense. You knew he needed your signature. That's the only reason you're standing here. You weren't entitled to the money. You weren't on the policy anymore. You didn't even want it. So what exactly are you suing for? Diana exhales, lips tight. Because he promised me $18,000. When? Over the phone. He said it during a call. You recorded this call? No. You wrote it down? Got it in writing? Not exactly. So nothing. Narrator, sarcastically. We now enter the part of the courtroom drama known as the vanishing agreement. Michael, arms folded, looks like a man watching a slow-motion car crash he didn't cause, but definitely predicted. Judge Judy turns to him. You're in the insurance business? Yes. Health insurance, Your Honor. So you know what contracts look like? Yes. And would you ever in your professional experience pay someone $18,000 without a contract? Michael offers a polite smirk. No, Your Honor, never. Narrator. Judge Judy isn't just dealing with an emotional plaintiff. She's dealing with a professional defendant. But Diana won't back down. She clutches a wrinkled letter like it's Exhibit A, in a mystery no one asked for. She waves it in the air, a bit too dramatically. This is the email where he asked for my signature. He said the policy was valuable and that he'd take care of me. Judge Judy takes it, scans it. Her expression remains unchanged. Ma'am, this email doesn't say anything about an amount. There's no number, no agreement, no signature, no transaction, just vague language and emotional assumptions. Diana stammers, but it was implied. Judge Judy leans in, slowly, dangerously. Implied? This is a courtroom, not a poetry class. Narrator. Deadpan. Insert sound of every lawyer in the world, groaning in unison. Then just when the pressure couldn't get worse, Judge Judy throws in her classic twist, the hypothetical question that exposes everything. Let me ask you something. If he hadn't sold the policy, would you still be suing him? Diana blinks. No, because there wouldn't be anything to sue over. Exactly. She slams her hand on the bench. You didn't care until there was money. That's not partnership. That's opportunism. Narrator. She's not just losing sympathy. She's earning contempt. And now the fire spreads. Judge Judy begins to pick apart Diana's timeline like a crow, unthreading a scarf. You said he asked for your signature, and you responded with what exactly? Diana hesitates again. I told him, make me an offer. So not only did you throw it away, you rented out your signature like it was available on eBay. Michael interjects. She said I couldn't have the letter unless I agreed to give her a cut. Is that true, ma'am? Diana stuttered. I mean, I said it had value to him. I just asked him to make a fair offer. Judge Judy tilts her head. You're not a business partner. You're a footnote. And you want royalties. Narrator. This just in: Diana's case has gone from flimsy to flammable. But it doesn't end there. Judge Judy grabs another document. Let's talk about this message. You said, and I quote, "I convinced him to sell the policy. He didn't even realize how much it was worth." Is that correct? Yeah. So you're telling me you coached a professional insurance agent on how to sell an insurance policy. He sells health insurance. This was life insurance. Judge Judy stares deadpan. Ma'am, that's like saying a dentist can't handle teeth because they're not an orthodontist. Narrator. Mocking. At this point, the only thing Diana's proving is that she really should have read the fine print before walking into this courtroom. But the climax of this chapter is no document, no message. It's Judge Judy's expression, the smirk of absolute clarity. I'm not just questioning your claim. I'm questioning your integrity. Diana's voice goes faint. She lowers her gaze. Michael doesn't speak. He doesn't have to. The audience, the gallery, even the cameras seem to lean in, anticipating the final blow. But it's not coming just yet. Narrator. The fire has started. The defenses are crumbling. And the truth? It's smoldering just beneath the surface. Because in the next chapter, it won't be just about conflicting stories. It'll be about what really happened, what was really said, and why Diana's version is about to be blown wide open. They say the truth will set you free. But in this court, the truth just sets you up for a takedown. The gavel hasn't dropped yet, but the tension in the room could cut glass. Diana clutches her envelope like it's a life preserver, while Michael leans casually against the podium, arms crossed, the subtle smirk of a man who's been waiting patiently for this exact moment. Judge Judy lifts her eyes from the file in front of her, calm but locked in like a missile. Let's talk about the August letter. A ripple of anticipation moves through the gallery. Diana perks up. Yes, Your Honor, that was the letter he emailed me and asked me to type out to say I was the original writing agent. And did he offer you money at that time? Diana's voice dips. Nervous. Not directly, but I knew it had value. I just wanted him to make an offer. Judge Judy's fingers tap the bench slowly, methodically, the rhythm of a mind calculating its final move. You told him, make me an offer. Did he respond with a number? No, not then. He just said he wasn't going to sell it. But you thought he would? Yes. So you continued the conversation, encouraging him to sell a policy he already owned, to which you had no legal tie, and then waited for him to pay you. Narrator. Mock disbelief. Welcome to the Court of Wishes, where ownership is optional and payday is based on vibes. Then it happens. The moment the crowd was waiting for. Judge Judy leans in. The voice drops an octave. Let's be clear. You're telling me that he never actually agreed to give you a... You never had it in writing. You never had a contract. You never had a message confirming that number. You just expected it? Diana, cornered, whispers, yes. Silent. Michael shifts slightly, the courtroom equivalent of a victory lap. Judy doesn't even look at him. Her gaze remains frozen on Diana like a laser beam. So the lawsuit you filed for $6,000 is based entirely on a number you believed was fair, even though it was never documented, discussed, or agreed upon. Well, yes. Narrator. And just like that, the plaintiff's case spontaneously combusted. But it doesn't stop there. Judge Judy flips to another page, suddenly holding up a printed email, one that had apparently gone overlooked, but not by her. Let's read this line together, shall we? She clears her throat dramatically. It's valuable to you. Make me an offer. I'm not demanding anything, but if you want my signature, I think it's only fair we work something out. Judy pauses. That doesn't sound like a partnership. That sounds like ransom. Narrator. Dryly. To be fair, it was a polite ransom. Diana tries to recover. I didn't mean it like that. How else did you mean it, ma'am? He owns the policy. You tossed it. You said you wanted nothing to do with it. He needed your signature and you said, that'll cost you. What would you call that? Diana's mouth opens, but no sound comes out. Exactly. And then Judge Judy drops the hammer with a classic twist of irony. Let's take this a step further. What did he actually give you? $12,000. And when he gave it to you, what did you say? I said thank you. Judge Judy stared. So he gave you a check. No paperwork. No conditions. You cashed it. Yes. Did he owe you that money? Well, I believed. Yes or no, ma'am. Legally. Did he owe you that money? No. So he gave you a gift. Narrator. Mock, gasp. Plot twist. The money was never owed. And now she's suing for more. Judge Judy lets that sink in before finishing the sequence with one of her patented reality checks. You received $12,000 for a policy you discarded and had no claim to, and now you want more, because you feel like it wasn't enough. The gallery leans in. Ma'am, that's not justice. That's greed. Narrator. Ladies and gentlemen, the twist wasn't in the evidence. It was in the entitlement. But just when it seemed the courtroom couldn't take another revelation, Judge Judy delivers her final body blow, one that leaves no room for debate. You claim you helped him sell the policy, that your conversation convinced him it was valuable, that somehow you deserve credit for him making a decision he'd already planned. Judy raises both eyebrows. He's an insurance salesman. You think you opened his eyes to the value of a life policy? You think he didn't know how to monetize it until you explained it? Diana flinches slightly, then mutters, he sells health insurance. Judge Judy interrupts sharp as ever. Next time you want a commission, ma'am, become a broker. Until then, don't confuse coincidence with contribution. Narrator. With bite. She thought she was part of the process. Turns out she was just part of the paperwork. By now even the audience is shifting uncomfortably in their seats. Not out of suspense but secondhand embarrassment. Michael doesn't speak. He doesn't have to. His silence is the loudest rebuttal in the room. And as Judge Judy straightens her bench file in hand, the truth sits heavy in the air. Narrator. The case isn't just unraveling. It's exposing the kind of entitlement that turns forgotten documents into dollar signs and good faith into courtroom drama. Next up, the verdict. And trust us, you're going to want to hear what Judge Judy says when she brings this circus to a close. 12,000 wasn't enough. 18,000 was never promised. But now, after all the documents, contradictions, and courtroom drama, it's judgment day. Judge Judy sits tall behind the bench, her fingers lightly drumming the case file. The courtroom is still, unnervingly still. Diana looks tight-lipped, arms crossed like a woman trying to brace against the storm. Michael, relaxed, almost too relaxed, as if he's already heard the ending to this story, and he liked it. Judge Judy's eyes are cold, precise. Here's what I know. She doesn't need to raise her voice. The power lies in the words. You had a life insurance policy. You gave it up. That policy was no longer yours. He paid the premiums. He became the sole owner. He changed the beneficiary. You were legally, financially, and ethically out of the picture. Diana opens her mouth to speak, but Judy raises one hand, firm and final. Don't interrupt. You've said enough. More than enough. Narrator. Grimly amused. Translation. Stop digging. You've already hit the bottom. Judy continues. Then one day he wants to sell the policy. He needs your signature. That's it. That's all. You were a loose end. Not a partner. Not a co-owner. Not entitled. Just an old name on an old file. She turns the page as if flipping past the nonsense. And what do? You see a window. A moment. An opportunity. You say, make me an offer. You dangle your signature like it's collateral when in fact it was just paperwork. Diana, visibly fuming, shifts on her feet. I didn't demand anything. Judy cuts her off again, sharper this time. Oh, you absolutely did. Maybe not in bold letters. Maybe not with shouting. But your intention was crystal clear. You want something. Pay me. That's not negotiation. That's extortion dressed up as entitlement. Narrator. It wasn't a business deal. It was a shakedown with glitter notes and emotional blackmail. Judge Judy now speaks directly to the gallery, as if addressing not just the litigants but the entire courtroom and every viewer watching from home. Let this be a lesson. You don't get to walk away from something, have someone else take care of it, build value into it, and then come back years later with your hand out. That's not how the world works. That's not how fairness works. And it sure as hell isn't how my courtroom works. She paused just long enough to let the silence punch. You were given $12,000 money you were not owed, not earned, not promised. It was a gift. And now you're suing for more. Why? Because you felt like you deserved. Narrator. Mockingly. Yes, Your Honor, I felt like reality owed me a bonus. Judy leans in, her voice now slow and cutting. If I allowed this case to succeed, if I let people get paid just because they felt like they deserved it, The whole legal system would collapse into a therapy session. The gallery chuckles. Diana doesn't. And here's the most outrageous part. Judy adds, you thought you were helping him, that you deserved a cut, because you told a man who's been in the insurance business for over 20 years to consider selling a policy. Ma'am, that's like telling a chef how to boil water. Narrator. She mistook common sense for contribution, and now she's about to find out the real price of that logic. Then in classic form, Judge Judy closes the file with a satisfying snap. Your case is dismissed. Not because I don't believe you were emotionally invested, but because emotions don't equal ownership, not in law.